So we're going to discuss on projectile. Projectile is an object launched in the air and allowed to move on its own under gravity. And we have some examples, which is a shot catapult. We also have a kicked football. It will move in parabolic form. Are you getting me? And apart from that, we have a thrown javelin. When you throw a javelin, it will move in parabolic form as well. And we have some examples, some applications of projectile, which is in terms of we also have a short arrow, and we have some applications which are in terms of sporting activities. Projectile can be applied in sporting activities such as playing of football, a thrown javelin, and the rest. You can also apply it in warfare when you are shooting a bullet or you are throwing. Now, in projectile, we have some components of the velocities, and these components are two. We have the vertical component, we have the component of the velocity. So the first one is we have the vertical component, and we have the horizontal component. Horizontal component. Now these are the two components you must take note of. And these two components, what we have here is, for vertical, vertical normally is y-axis. You all know that. Horizontal is x-axis. Do you understand that? Don't forget to subscribe while watching the video, and also to like and share as well. Share to as many as possible students out there, because our students need this. They need this to excel in physics. Now, let's come back to business, and also ask any form of questions that you have where necessary in terms of projectile. Now, as I've said earlier, the vertical component is the vertical, that is the y-axis, while the horizontal component is the x-axis. Now, for the vertical component, if we have, v, let me put it this way, for vertical component, we have v. We are going to take uy as the vertical component, and the uy is equal to u sine theta. Do you get that? I told you before that y is the vertical, that's the y-axis, while horizontal is x, that is the x-axis. Now, for horizontal component, we have ux, and ux is equal to u cos theta. Ux is equal to u cos theta. Are you with me? Now, if you remember our equations of motion, we have three solid equations of motion, and we only have one added one to make it 4, but we have three solid equations of motion. If we go back to those equations of motion, we have this. The first one is v equal to u plus at. v equal to u plus 80. This is the first equation of motion. And in this regard, v equal to u plus 80. If we now compare this in terms of projectile, remember that when the body is being projected, the body is moving in a projectile manner. Let's take it like this. The body is moving this way, until it lands the horizontal plane again. Do you get that? Now, there's something you are going to take note of again. We have this as the angle of projection. Do you get me? We have from this point to this point, that is a maximum height. And what do I mean by maximum height? Maximum height is the highest height attained by the projectile before returning to the projection plane again. Do you understand me? It is the highest height, or you can say it is the maximum height attained by the projectile before returning to its projection plane again. Is that clear? So that is the maximum height. We have the time of flight. I'm just trying to give you the terms used before we come back to the formula. That's the one we are going to derive using the equations of motion. Now, we have time of flight. That's the second one. And time of flight is the time spent by the projectile. Do you get me? It is the time spent by the projectile in the air. Are you following me? Before reaching the projection plane. Do you understand that? The total time spent by the projectile in the air before reaching the projection plane. Do you understand that? It means the time spent if a ball is here and you kick the ball. The ball will move. If let's say you have a stopwatch, you start the stopwatch, immediately you kick the ball, it will move like this. As it is moving in the air until it lands the horizontal plane, you now stop the stopwatch. Now the time spent by that football before getting to the horizontal plane, do you understand that? We call that the time of flight. There is another thing you can derive from the time of flight, which is the maximum time. The maximum time is the time taken by the
More
projectile.
music on tunesjam.com.
Do you understand that? To reach the maximum height. The time taken by the projectile. Let's say the ball is here. You kick the ball. Once you kick that ball, you start your stopwatch. Now, the time that it will take that ball to reach the maximum height, do you get that? We call that the maximum time. Are you getting me? And if from here to here is a maximum time, it means here again is another maximum time. So twice of maximum time is the same thing as the time of flight. Now, let's do something before we move to the range. Remember, I'll come back to the range. For the maximum time, if we use the equation of motion, which is this. Now, when the object is moving in the air, remember that when you kick that object, it will move vertical. Do you understand that? Vertical. That means it is opposing the force of gravity. So since it is opposing the gravity, so you can now say A, our A, which is acceleration, is equal to minus G. A is equal to minus G. And again, this object that is moving in the air, which is a projectile, it will move using the same velocity. the same initial velocity. That is what this object will use to move until it lands the horizontal plane. Now, what I'm trying to draw out is this. It means our v is equal to u. Now, t, we can call it the t max. That's the maximum time. Now, in this case, we can now say that, I hope you are with me. If we put all this in the formula, that will be, this v is 0, please. V is equal to 0. Exactly, because there is no final velocity. It is moving with the same initial velocity. So 0 equal to u. U now, it is moving vertical. U now is uy. Then we have our a. A is minus g. Then t is the t max. T max means the maximum time. Are you with me? Now, in this regard, if we bring this one minus gt max to this side, that will give us gt max equal to uy. Do you get that? Now, divide both sides by g. It means t max will be equal to uy all over g. But remember that our
More music
uy
on tunesjam.com.
is u sine theta. Uy is u sine theta. Now come back here. We cannot replace that u sine theta in the place of uy. So we now have t max is equal to uy, which is u sine theta all over g. We call this one the maximum time. That's the maximum time. Is that clear? We have gotten the maximum time. There's something I said before, that the maximum time, I said this before, that the time of flight is twice the maximum time. Time of flight is twice t max. Now, since capital T, which is the time of flight, is twice t max, we can now say t is equal to, we go back to where we got our t max, and our t max is u sine theta over g. So we are bringing this one and we dump it here, we replace it here. So that is 2, are you getting me? 2 u sine theta all over g. We call this time of flight. That is our time of flight. Is that clear? Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like. Don't forget to share to your friends and well-wishers, and also comment where necessary. Anywhere you have problem, comment and I will attend to you diligently. Are you with me? So we have gotten that of time of flight. Is that clear? I can call this part 1. In our next class, I will now consider part 2. The part 2 will now be based on, the maximum height. This will be our part 2, maximum height. Now I have taught you how you can derive the maximum time and also the time of flight. That's the formula. And also I made you understand that the components of the velocity is of 2 types, which is vertical component and horizontal component. And for vertical component, it is uy equal to u sine theta. For horizontal component, it is ux equal to u cos theta. Do you get that? And also I made you to understand that projectile is an object, I'm repeating myself, launched in the air and allowed to move on its own, as in it is moving freely on its own under gravity. Is that clear? That is projectile. Thank you for
More
watching.
music on tunesjam.com.
Expect the next class, as in part 2, in our next class. Thank you for watching and have a special day. See you in our next class. Bye for now.